Hello children, today we will do the second poem of Flamingo. The name of the poem is An Elementary School Classroom in a Slum. This poem is written by Stephen Spender. Something about the poet Stephen Spender. He was a poet and English essayist. Spender had keen interest in politics, and so he declared himself as socialist and pacifist. His work concentrated on themes of social injustice and the class struggle. Here, in the present poem, An Elementary School Classroom in a Slum, the poet is presenting the miserable condition of a school and the children studying there. The condition of the school was pitiable. The poet has depicted this miserable condition of these children in vivid imagery, contrasting the rich world outside with their slum. The poem written by Stephen Spender describes the social inequalities which are prevailing in the society. In the poem, he describes the condition of the students of an elementary school which is situated in a slum area. The poet wants to draw attention of everyone towards these kids so that their life can be improved and they may get trained to become good citizens rather than criminals. This is the first stanza of the poem. I'll read this stanza for you and then we will find out some difficult words and expressions in the poem. Far, far from gusty waves, these children's faces like rootless weeds. The hair torn round their pallor, the tall girl with her way down head, the paper-seeming boy with rat's eyes, the stunted, unlucky heir of twisted bones, reciting a father's gnarled disease, his lesson from his desk. At back of the dim class, one unnoted, sweet and young. His eyes live in a dream of squirrel's game in tree room other than this. In this stanza, there are some difficult words and expressions. Underline those words. The first one is gusty. The meaning of gusty is blowing strongly. Weeds, useless, wild plants. Torn round, scattered around in disorder. Weighed down, that is bent down due to depression and burden of poverty. Paper seeming. Paper seeming is looking lean and thin. Stunted. Stunted is underdeveloped. Heir. Heir is successor. Reciting, repeating. Gnarled, that is a type of a disease, that is twisted bones. Unnoted, someone who is not noticed. Other than this room of the school. These are some important words over here. Now the explanation of the poem. In the very first stanza, the poet is using far, far away. This far, far from gusty waves. Firstly, there is a literary device over here. These three words, far, far from, they are in repetition. One single alphabet, that is F, is in repetition over here, and The literary device, that is, poetic device, repetition, has been used in this line. The poet here says that these children are far, far away from the gusty waves, from the lap of nature, from the enjoyment of the nature. He repeats the word far to put an emphasis on the distance between the children and the gusty waves. By gusty waves, poets symbolize the bright, energetic side of life that is so lively and full of enjoyment. The word gusty means blowing strongly. We enjoy seeing the strongly blowing wind over the sea. This energetic life delights us. But the poor children of the slum are far away from this bright, hopeful life of rich world outside their slum. In contrast, the slum children live a life of hopelessness. Their face is unkempt and dirty. Their hair is untidily scattered around their pale faces. Pale face represents both unhealthy lifestyle and hopelessness. These children are compared to rootless weeds because weeds are some unwanted wild plants grown in our paddy fields. These weeds are called rootless because they are not welcomed by us. They don't belong to the field which we grow, so we try to pluck them out. These children of slum are also like these weeds, unwelcomed and unwanted by the rich world outside their slum. They are pale because of malnutrition and unhealthy lifestyle. The poet perfectly compares the insecure life of the weeds to the insecure life of the slum children. The poet goes on to describing children's presence in the classroom. First he says that there is a tall girl sitting in the classroom with her bowed down head. The poet perhaps tries to present the depressed girl with bowed down head because she was overloaded and overburdened with the difficulties and struggle of life. So she is exhausted and tired. She can't even sit straight. He mentioned another boy who is light-weighted like a paper. His eyes are like rats, small and scared of world outside. He is weak and meek. He is in search of something, maybe food, shelter, or a better life that he cannot get in this slum. The boy reciting a lesson from his book who is having twisted bones. Perhaps he is affected with some genetic disease. His growth is stunted. The poet calls him unlucky ear because, unlike other children, he got nothing from his parents except poverty, struggle, a genetic disease that is carried through generation and generation, and a life in a slum full of dirt and filth. Through all these children, poet tries to present the hell-like life of the slum children with no hope and future. At the same time, poet also says that there is another boy in this dim classroom who is unlike these children because he lives in hope and dream. He dreams of squirrel games in trees. He dreams of nature, life and energy. Squirrel games here represents nature and life outside. This unnoticed boy represents a ray of hope and life in that dark and dull classroom. There are some literary devices used in this first stanza. The first one is simile. Here, children are compared with rootless weeds. And here the poet has used like. And when we use like or as, when we compare two things with the help of like and as, then that is a simile. Then another literary device is metaphor. The poet is comparing the boy with a paper. The physical condition of the boy is not good. He is weak, and here the poet suggesting the weak condition of the boy to a paper. He is as thin as a paper. Then the other literary device is repetition. Repeated use of a particular alphabet or word. And in the very beginning of the stanza, it is given far, far from the gusty waves. Use of far to stress on the distance. The slum school children are far away from the fast, bright and hopeful life of the rich world outside. These children have no hope on their faces. Their faces are unkempt and dirty. Their hair are scattered untidily around their pale faces. The children appear like rootless weeds, implying they are unwanted and lack stability. The tall girl who is sitting there is depressed due to the burden of poverty and keeps her head down. The boy who is sitting there is very thin and his eyes are bulging out like that of the rat, implying hungry eyes. His growth is blocked and the body appears underdeveloped. He is an unfortunate heir who has inherited the twisted bones of his father. Actually, he is not reciting a lesson from his desk. He is enumerating the disease inherited from his father. The boy only has his crippling disease to show in the class. A sweet young boy sits at the back of the dim class. He is unnoticed. Dreams seem to be alive in his eyes. He dreams of outdoor games outside his dull classroom in a dirty slum. He dreams of squirrel playing games in the hollow of the tree. His dreams are of the places other than his repulsive classroom. Young boy lost in the world of his dreams. He creates his own fantastic world where he plays like a squirrel in her tree room. The dull and monotonous environment of the classroom does not interest him. Second stanza of the poem. On sour cream walls, donations, Shakespeare's head, cloudlets at dawn, civilized dome, writing all cities, belled flowery Tyrolese valley, open-handed map awarding the world its world. And yet, for these children, these windows, not this map, their world, where all their future painted with a fog. A narrow street sealed in with a lead sky, far, far from rivers, capes, and the stars of wars. There are some important expressions here. Sour, that is unpleasant. Tyrolese Valley, it is a valley in Austria. Sealed in, that is closed in. Lead sky, the type of a grey sky representing sorrow and hopelessness of these children. Cape, a part of land projecting into a sea. Civilized dome, institution of the civilized world, society. Bed, having bells. Open-handed map. Map hung on the classroom wall representing important rich and civilized people and beautiful places of the world. Now the explanation of this stanza. The unpleasant walls of the classroom are decorated with the donations and the picture of Shakespeare. The walls are called unpleasant because they are off-white in color and show the decayed life of the slum. They are unpleasant because there may be some rotten smell coming from it because of unrepaired condition of the walls. The picture of Shakespeare on the wall suggests the literate world outside. Other pictures hanged on wall includes a picture of a clear sky at dawn, flowery valley of Austria, along with the dome of an ancient civilization representing hope, enjoyment of nature's beauty, and progress of human civilization. Poet says the rich people pretend to be generous to these children by donating these things to them. But in reality, there is no relevance of these things to the world of slum. The children of slum are limited to the world of their window, to the world they see through the windows of the school classroom. Their future is foggy, uncertain, dull, and bleak. They are confined to the narrow streets of the slum enclosed by the polluted sky. They are miles away from the rivers and seas that indicate the adventure and enjoyment of nature. They are also far away from wisdom that can empower them for future. There are some important expressions given in this stanza. The first one is Shakespeare's statue. Now, students, this picture of Shakespeare in the class represents knowledge, education, and literate world, and it is in complete contrast to the world, this world of slum here in the poem, because these children, they are living a hopeless life where there is no education, no literacy, and in such a scenario, this picture of Shakespeare is quite ironic. Second expression is cloudless sky at dawn. This represents clear pollution-free sky of world in nature's lap, and it is in complete contrast to the sealed lead sky of the slum, because this slum is situated at a place which is filled with pollution, and due to this the color of the sky is grey. Another expression is civilized dome. It represents the rich, progressive and civilized world outside the slum, in contrast to the stagnant, dull slum. Tireless valley. It represents the pleasant, beautiful world, and it is in contrast to the dirty and filthy world of the classroom. The children note down the literary devices used in the second stanza of the poem. Metaphor is used here. It is there in the line where walls are described to be dull as sour cream. Walls are compared to sour cream because they are dull in color, brightless, and they are producing a bad smell. Then again, metaphor is being used here. The future of the kids is described as limited, narrow street sealed with a lead sky. That means there is no possibility for a bright future for these small children. They will be living in this world, in this slum, throughout their lifetime. They will never be able to go out of this place. Then another literary device, assonance, has been used. Here you can see the repetition of a vowel sound. These are the words bald, flory, tireless, valley. Another literary device, allusion. There are many references to famous places or famous people. Here in this particular stanza, there is a reference to Shakespeare, and then there is a beautiful place referred, Tireless Valley. And then we can also find some example of repetition here, because far word has been used repeatedly here. Explanation of the second stanza. The gifts given as donation and the picture of Shakespeare are hung on the unpleasant, creamy walls, reflecting despondency. But they are useless. Shakespeare and literature are no good to them. The other things are also hung on the classroom walls, like the picture of a clear sky at dawn and a beautiful tireless valley, indicating beauty and hope with its bells and flowers, along with a dome of an ancient city building standing for civilization and progress. The rich people pretend to be generous by donating these things to the children. They feel they have gifted them the beautiful world through these donations. But for the slum children, their limited world is what they can see through the windows of the classroom. Their future is foggy, bleak, and dull. Their life world is confined within the narrow streets of the slum, enclosed by the bluish-grey sky. Their world is far from rivers, seas that indicate adventure and beautiful world. They are also far away from stars, which symbolizes wisdom that can empower them their future. In this way, these children, they are living a hopeless life where there is no possibility for progress, where there is no hope, and they'll be living in this slum throughout their lifetime, and here only one day they will die. In this case, the poet is trying to present two worlds before us. One world is comprised of all the beautiful places of the world, as the expression used in the poem, awarding the world its world. One world is for the rich people, but then there is this another world where these children are living in these dirty slum areas.